Hello, welcome to Mindful Yoga with Yogi Beth C. In this practice, I'm going to lead you through some yoga postures to specifically target your upper body. So hopefully by the end of this practice, you'll feel more of a sense of ease and relaxation in your whole upper body, especially your shoulders and your neck. Now, this whole practice is going to be either seated or kneeling on the floor. If you prefer, it's fine to sit on a chair, grab your chair. If you want to sit on some cushions like this, a blanket, anything that makes you more comfortable, grab those props now. Otherwise, we'll come down to a seated position. You could stay kneeling like I just was. I'm going to come to a cross leg. In yoga, we call this Sukhasana. That is simply a cross-legged seat. If cross-legged doesn't work for you, legs can be out, soles of the feet can be together. However it works for you to ground your sits bones, so move those little bony parts that help you connect with the floor. Start to have a tall spine. Rest your hands wherever comfortable. Take a few natural breaths, your own natural breathing in and out through the nose. Taking this moment to allow your mind to arrive as your body landed. And one of the ways we make this a mindful practice is to connect the attention, to connect the mind, to connect the breathing with the movements of our body. So let's start that by breathing in, expanding across the collarbones, reaching forward with the chest as we start to develop a C curve in the back, tailbone tips back, head might look up a little bit. And then on the exhale, your shoulders might round forward as you tuck your tail, tuck your chin a little bit. This is our cat movement seated. A few times and then we're going to take it around in a circle. So let's do it twice more, breathing in. You can even look up with your eyes a little bit. Exhale, tucking and rounding. Once more, just like this, breathing in, allowing some movement to come into your whole spine to begin. And then this time as you breathe in forward, now start to circle in one direction in your in-breath. And as you exhale, round back, tucking as you come back. Inhale, circling back forward. And exhaling, coming back. Each inhale, you feel the width across the front of your chest. Each exhale, you feel the width across your your shoulders and the back body. I think that was 4, so let's do one more in this direction. Breathe in front and then we'll reverse. So take another breath in, start to go in the opposite direction as you move back, tuck and round the back. Adding the eye movements can add a little bit more brain-body connection. So breathing in, moving your eyes forward and up. Exhaling, looking down toward the direction of the floor, your belly button. And one last full revolution around. As you come back to center, allow yourself once again recenter. So we got ourselves a little off center. Let's recenter. Feel firmly grounded again. Breathe in a few times, a few full breath in, full breath out. Now, if you need to change the position of your feet, maybe you want to cross the other way. If you had your legs crossed, you can go ahead and do that. We'll stay in this position for one more move, a little bit of an opening warm up for our neck and our entire side body. Let your hands rest down by your sides loosely. It's fine if they don't touch. I'm going to mirror you for this movement. So take your left ear and start to let it drop toward the left shoulder. And at first, we're only moving the neck. So only that lateral bend at the neck. Go slowly here. Don't try to force your ear down. You might begin to notice some sensation of stretch in the opposite side. And if you'd like, you can reach the opposite side fingers out, wiggle them. You can even move your arm around to see if there's a place you can place your arm that feels that stretch sensation a little bit more. Now we're going to let our whole body drape toward this side. So it's almost like you're going to slump, except you're going to keep your opposite hip on the ground. So we're not going to tip over, but starting with our neck bend, then I'll start to lean my shoulder down toward the ground, kind of doing a side crunch here. As I lean a little bit more of my body to the ground, my opposite hand's coming off. I'll just place that on my lap. My left hand is going to support me on the ground. Let your body start to hang over until the point where you can still keep both sits bones grounded. So again, we're not tipping over, we're staying grounded with our lower body as we let our upper body release a little bit more. Make sure you're still breathing. It's easy to start to hold our breaths in poses, so let yourself breathe in and out here. Let's stay for one more full in and out breath. And then when you're ready, you can use the bottom hand to help push yourself back up. Maybe even put that hand on the side of the head to give your head a little bit of an assist. Find your way back through center, recenter before we go to the other side. So take a moment here, breathe in and out up tall. And then remember, we'll start with just the neck. So slowly, slowly, slowly letting the right ear start to tip toward the right shoulder. Now this side might feel different. I have the sense that I'm not going as far on this side. Maybe you can see that better than I can on camera. It feels a little bit more tight in here on this side to me. So I'll reach out my opposite arm, explore whether there's any place where I can maybe target or alleviate that tightness a little more. We put the effort of our attention into the movements that we're doing, really to help us get more out of the movement. Another breath in and out with just the neck. And then remember, as we start to tip, we're not going to tip the whole body. The opposite hip is going to stay down toward the floor. I'm going to start to lead with my side of my head, my shoulder, tip the upper body down toward that side. The opposite arm will naturally start to come off the floor if it was there. The bottom right hand can serve as a little bit support. And the goal is not to tip as low as you can, just to tip to the point that maybe you do get stuck, and that's okay. Let yourself be stuck there with as much stretch as you can invite into the opposite side of the body. And even though our breath happens in the center of our body and the torso, we have breathing muscles, our intercostals between our ribs. You might notice if you direct your attention there, you can think about breathing a little bit more in that area. All right, let's take one more full in and out breath. And once again, you can use your bottom hand to help you push a little off the floor, maybe to provide some support for your head as your head comes up. Breathe here one more moment for center. And then we're going to come to a hands and knee position. So from hands and knees, we're going to start with our toes together, knees a little bit apart. Now you might adjust that wider or closer. We're going to come into a child's pose variation where the arms are in a praying mantis position. And you can start with child's pose with your hips back, or you can come all the way up to all fours. It's up to you. We're going to start by putting our elbows where our hands were, letting the hands come together. Now once you're in this position, and I'll turn sideways for you for a moment, you'll see sideways that my bottom is pretty up in the air. I can send it back a little bit. That'll help give me a little more stretch. So you'll see as we move into this, you can send your hips back, your arms forward, or a little bit of both. So keep your elbows a little bit apart, but maybe a little bit less than your shoulders. And then start walking them out a little forward. Now, if that's really tough, you can also use your lower body, send your hips in the opposite direction. So send your hips more toward child's pose. Now, I'm really feeling this a lot on my side deltoids. You can explore this further by letting your head, your heart, melt toward the mat. So you might find that your forehead can touch the mat between your arms. Remember to breathe into the idea of that space in your back ribs, between your shoulder blades. And yes, we're sustaining some of these stretches. So 2 or 3 more of your breaths. Now this pose can be quite awkward to get out of. Push back into your elbows, start to lift your torso. You can put your palms down, crawl your knees in, crawl yourself back up. Ooh, maybe take a little shake out there before we go on to the next pose. We'll do another variation, this time a variation of thread the needle, focusing more on a sustained shoulder stretch. So let's come forward into our hands and knees position. And again, I'll mirror you. So I'm going to take the opposite hand, what's going to be your left arm. And let's just open up in a little bit of a twist. You might feel the back of your left shoulder blade helping you lift into this twist. Feel the revolution around your ribs. I'm going to scoop this hand under, palm down, so that my hand lands somewhere behind my other hand, a little bit out to the opposite edge of the mat. So I'm not going all the way down to the floor like we sometimes go to thread the needle. Now, if your hand doesn't touch the floor, have a block or a cushion, something that you can make contact here. Here's the little twist on this pose, is as we push this hand, we're going to try to twist back in the opposite direction. Keep your gaze going down. Now you won't really see anything happening, but I'm really almost pulling with my left hand, feeling as if my left shoulder is going to go toward that side of the room. So it's really an active stretch, and we're going to breathe here for about 3 to 5 breaths. You can allow your hips to sit more back toward your heels if that's simply more comfortable, or if it enhances your stretch in any way. One more full in and out breath. All right, then slowly unwind out of this. Replant your hands under your shoulders to start, and we'll go to the second side. This time your right arm opens up toward the right. Your body twists around your ribs to the right. So an open twist, exploring space, exploring the breath in the torso. And maybe feeling a little bit of effort somewhere in the front of the deltoid, the front of the shoulder. And we dive that hand under and through a little bit to the opposite edge of the mat. Find a place to plant the hand on the mat, on a block. Once that hand is planted, almost a sense of you're trying to drag the hand back in. It won't move, but as if you're trying to drag the hand back in, feeling that action move all the way up to the back of your deltoid, the back part of your shoulder on your right arm. It's an isometric stretch. We're putting quite a bit of effort into it, but you won't see anything. I guarantee you'll probably feel something though. Breathe in and out here a few times. One more full in and out breath here. And once again, hands back into all fours. And this time we're going to come up into a kneeling position. Your kneeling position can be bottom on heels, or it can be upright kneeling. I might vary between the two. I think I'll start bottom on heels and then come to upright kneeling. Okay, so from here, we're simply going to reach our arms up. Take a few big breaths, reaching the arms. Now, up is going to be different for everyone. Some people, it doesn't feel good for me to have my arms even parallel. I like a little bit of a wider V. That feels more comfortable on my shoulders, which do tend to get tight. You might also notice that rather than have your shoulders near your ears, right next to them, they're going to be a little in front of your shoulder blades. That's natural. Again, we have different ranges of motion. So we're exploring where for you is the most close to over your shoulders that you can get your hands, and that's fine if it's here. And the most close to biceps parallel to ears, also fine if it's here. So maybe move them around a little bit, find where is that for you. And by most, I don't mean you have to go to 100% maximum, maybe 60, 70% effort there. And then going to flip the palms forward, keeping the shoulder blades as back as much as comfortable to you. We're going to slowly drag our arms down as if you're dragging them through, I don't know, some sticky substance, maybe mud, maybe quicksand, until the hands come to around shoulder level. Now, again, this is a pose that maybe does not feel like a lot of work. It's a lot of effort. You can even let your hands go back a little bit more. Your elbows come a little bit forward. Ooh, you'll feel that. And then on an exhale, reach back up. We're just going to do that 3 times. Give your arms, hands a little shake out as you come up. Again, reaching down, keeping your elbows back as much as possible, hands back as much as possible as you open into this cactus or goalpost shape. Oh, and releasing and going back up. One more. Reaching back with the arms, with the hands, with the elbows. Breathing in, reaching up, and give that a little shake out. So once again, you might have felt that primarily on the back of the shoulders. We'll do something more for the front of the shoulders. And this time I'll come to a little bit more upright kneeling so you can see better. Take your arms by your side, palms away and a little bit away from your body in a low V. Keeping our torso here, whether you're seated in a chair or kneeling on the ground. We're not going to move the back and the torso around. Hips will stay over knees. We'll start to push our arms back. I like the visual of thinking of our arms forming a cape flying out behind us. If that works for you, you can think of your super person cape out behind you. Now you might notice that the shoulder blades are starting to pull a little bit more together in the back. And so you can send your thumbs in a little more toward each other to enhance that effort, making your cape a little bit more narrow if you'd like. Although the effort is in the back of the shoulders, the stretch for this pose is designed more for the front of the shoulders. So make any movement that you need to start to feel that more in the front of the shoulders. And we have 2 options here. We're going to start to bend the elbows, bring the hands in, and either hold onto your forearms without pushing your belly, your back into an arch, so keeping your body in the same way, or if it's possible to clasp the hands at one side of the body. So it would be, if you're mirroring me, your left side, elbow back. So remember, either we're holding the forearms here or clasping the hands, and notice which thumb is on top when you do that. We'll switch the other side. Elbow back, and last element, we start to let the ear drift down, same side as your arms. Or if your forearms are holding each other, pick a side, maybe mirror me. Also notice which forearm is on top. So that would be your switch for the second side. It's fine to move your neck around, even for held stretches. Sometimes a little bit of exploration can help us better learn about where those stretches show up in our own bodies. Let's take one more full in and out breath here. Let your head come up first. Release your arms. Give that little shake out, take them back to the cape just for a moment. So reach first, let your thumbs start to move toward each other, and then decide on the second side, do you want to stack your forearms, lightly clasping your forearms? Again, see if you can make sure opposite forearm is clasped on top. Or does it make more sense for you to interlace your fingers and, oh, I have to do it the weird way on this side, opposite thumb on top, and then let your elbow pull toward the back, and it's really your shoulder blade that is helping with that effort. And once you have all of those things in place, option to let your neck start to fall in that direction. And we always want to continue breathing in our stretches, remembering that it's fine to move your neck around if that enhances the stretch for you. One more full breath on this side. All right, and then come back to center. Release the clasp of your arms. We have one more move. You can stay in an upright kneeling. If you were there with me, I'm going to come to seated on my heels for this last move. For this last move, our arms are come out in front, palms facing each other and parallel. So we're going to end with a move that's a little bit of a gentle shoulder rolling, but with a tiny twist here. So let's go for your right arm first. So I'm mirroring you, your right arm. Start to move the shoulder up, back, and behind, keeping your arm straight ahead. So think a little bit about like the piston on a train. Yes, this is our choo-choo arms. And then go in the other direction. Bring your shoulder up, front, and down. I think we started with the backward train and now we're going forward. Let the right arm come into stillness. We'll repeat with the left. The arm stays long the whole time, so it's just the shoulder that is moving the arm. It's as if someone is turning a little crank at your shoulder and your arm just follows along with the ride. A few times in one direction and then we reverse. Train comes toward you. That time I just kind of let my arm do it rather than just my shoulders. Release for a second. So yeah, you have to keep your attention on these moves or your limbs start going all over the place. All right, last version. Now we really will be a choo-choo because we're going to alternate. We're going to do both arms at the same time. Reach them out long. We're going to go backward first, rolling the arms back. So start with whatever arm you want. You don't have to stay, your train doesn't have to stay in tandem with mine. Roll one arm. As that comes forward, roll the other. Choo-chooing your arms. Everything but your shoulders stays still. Now your arms will move, but they're only moving because of the activity of your shoulders. So they're really trying to move them in a railroad track type line, not to let them wave out to the side or other places. Like mine just did. And then come forward, choo-chooing your arms forward. If a little bend happens in your elbows, it's all good. We're still loosening up our shoulders. And then maybe just a few between the two, a few backward, a few forward, or a few in the direction that feels better and more juicy and comfortable to you. And then finish up. Let your arms hang down for a moment. Reconnect with your breath in and out. I recommend just taking a moment to widen your hands a little bit away from your body. Not a lot of effort, a low V. And so you might feel a little more heaviness in your shoulders in this position, that the arms are helping naturally set your shoulder blades on your back. So as you feel that rest position of your shoulder blades, notice that there's also a lot of width across your collarbones. So we're not yanking our shoulders down or putting them in a stiff position. We're wide across the front, wide across the back. And this is our bliss, our relaxed release position. So that's today's practice. I have more practices available. If you'd like to try some of my other full yoga practices, they're here for you. If you'd like to try some of my meditation practices, I have that too. If this was a video you liked, please let me know by hitting the like button, subscribing, leave me a comment. I'd love to hear from you and I'll answer all comments. Thank you so much for joining me today and have a great rest of your day.